My name is Michael Gottstein. I'm Head of Sheep Production with Teagasc, and I'm here today to talk about the National Sheep Conference. Session 1 deals with flock health issues. The first item is a new and emerging disease that farmers would have accounted for or would have encountered in 2013 called Schmallenberg.
The topic we're here to talk about today is Schmallenberg virus and how it can be managed in a flock. It causes significant losses in terms of both cattle and sheep. The best way to control Schmallenberg infection is to vaccinate either sheep or cows in advance of pregnancy.
The second paper is a joint paper written by Tom Coll and Dr. Orla Keane. It has to do with parasite resistance, in particular stomach worms and helminthics, and it deals with the results from the STAP, and once the results were got back, how to deal with that information and how to manage parasites sustainably on their farm.
My name is Tom Coll. I'm a Teagasc Business and Technology Advisor based in Mohill, County Leitrim, and I'm going to talk to you about STAP Task 3, carrying out a drench test on your farm. So the main gains that you're going to get from doing this is you're going to find out whether that drug that you're using is actually working on your farm. It might not necessarily tell you whether you have a resistance problem on your farm or not, but it'll tell you if the drug has been effective.
Our final speaker in the first session was Professor Neil Sargison. Neil is an expert on sheep health issues, and he's dealing with some of the common conditions that you would find around lambing time.
When we see problems such as pregnancy toxemia occurring in late pregnant ewes, it's an indication of the fact that the nutrition and disease management of the whole group is incorrect, and the consequences go way beyond what we're seeing in these individual animals. It's important that farmers monitor the body condition score of their ewes at strategic times throughout the year, and also during late pregnancy monitor the nutritional adequacy of their animals, sometimes using metabolite concentrations.
My name is Michael Diskin. I'm the Teagasc Sheep Enterprise Leader based in the Athenry campus in County Galway, and I'm one of the organisers for this National Sheep Conference. And one of our speakers today, we brought him in here from New Zealand. He's from Ag Research in New Zealand, Dr. John McEwen, and he's been one of the, I suppose, the scientific leaders of the genetic improvement of the ewe population in New Zealand, and he's been very much involved in leading the program towards the, I suppose, the exploitation of genomic selection to sheep.
Genomic selection, as we use it in New Zealand, is basically all it does is more accurately track the hunks of DNA that are transferred between generations, and we've been able to use that to get what's called genomic predictions for about 22 traits, and they cover growth, meat, yield, reproduction, lamb survival, wool growth, and quite a few disease traits. And we're working on a couple of others that are really quite important, which is like longevity of the ewes. New Zealand sheep, a lot of the dual purpose ones have a lot of emphasis on maternal traits, and those are things you can't measure in lambs, and that's where a lot of the gain comes from. It's in the maternal traits, or traits that are expensive to measure or can only be measured late in life. We think it's got value. It's being implemented in the industry.
That's followed by a presentation by a young researcher in Teagasc that's devoted to sheep and beef genetic improvement. That is Dr. Noreen McHugh, and she's in the process of setting up a new project in Athenry where she's basically bringing the highest genetic merit animals from New Zealand, from the UK and from Ireland, and assembling two flocks of pedigree Texel and pedigree Suffolk sheep here.
There's a new technology coming in which is called genomic selection. Genomic selection allows us to take a DNA sample, which is basically tells us how each of us differ from each other. It tells us genetic makeup of the animal, but it'll also give us parentage information. So if we can get this new technology into the sheep industry, then we can have a huge benefit for all commercial data it could be.
The third speaker is one of my own colleagues from Athenry, and that is Dr. Tim Keeley. And today he's reporting on a study that's ongoing for the last number of years, where he's looking at some of the factors affecting lifetime performance of sheep.
We found that increasing the ewe age up to 6 years of age had no negative effect whatsoever on litter size, weaning rate, weight of lambs at birth, or the weight of the lamb at weaning, and we actually found that the older the ewe, the lower was the lamb mortality. And what the data tells us is that if there's no genuine reason to cull a ewe, then she shouldn't be culled just for age alone.
Today's conference is obviously very important for the sheep industry. It's a NESTAP qualifying event. We're very happy with the attendance we've seen here in Athlone today. We're probably something between 500 and 600 attendees, which is a very impressive number. And I think the industry is hungry for new information and for new technologies. And I think we in Teagasc are doing our best to supply the industry with that type of information. And I think it shows the value of having a good panel of speakers here, relevant topics, and I think the industry will respond, and I think we see that here today.
Today's conference, which is very kindly sponsored by MSD, it's a free event, and it's the sponsorship that allows us to do that. It's a very worthwhile event for sheep farmers. It's very we cover some very topical issues relating this year to flock health and genetics, and those are things that sheep farmers have to deal with on a daily basis.